Jim Watts, and welcome to What's Up Kansas City. Today we have a very special guest and a very great friend of mine, Mr. Ace Wagner.
Good to see you, Jim.
Good to see you, Ace. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
The first order of business is, how is your mother doing?
You know, she's doing all right.
Okay.
She's aging, Jim.
Okay. Now, your mother was quite a fighter.
Yes, sir.
She camped out on 27th and Prospect at one time, right?
She did.
She did, and she's always been out in front on the civil rights.
Her goal was to collect and bring guns in off the streets by camping out at 27th and Prospect and try to reduce the gun shed, violence, and anyway, she put herself in that neighborhood and gave that speech and collected a few guns. So
right, and she spent the night there, didn't she?
She spent several nights there.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a broken down camper we lent her.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's right.
She got her sons to take care of her.
Well, we tried, but she was doing stuff we didn't necessarily agree with, but she got the message.
Well, that's Cecilia Wagner. That's her way.
That's exactly right.
She told me one time, I was talking to her about you, and then she looked at me. She said, "That's why we call him Ace."
Is that right?
That's what she told me. She told me that.
I hope somebody's got a reason for that.
She told me that.
I can't shake it.
You know what? Tell us a little bit about Ace.
Well, I am born and bred Kansas City man, and did my college away in Denver at a place called Regis University, one of the Jesuit universities, a lot like Rockhurst here in Kansas City. And then I got a graduate degree from Rockhurst College in business while I was running a business. So my brother and I have been successful business owners, as well as a group of other partners now for many years in a business called Wagner Interior Supply. And we are construction material suppliers, as you well know. Mm-hmm. And so I've been running that business, or part of it, in one way, shape, or form for the last 30 years. And I try to involve myself in the community, as has my company, to try to improve the lot in life for some others. And I'm proud of the number of good people that we've employed through the years, and the way those good people and we have formed a partnership and managed a successful business for many years.
That's very good. Tell me a little bit about your business.
The construction material supply business is we supply materials to subcontractors, the parties that carry out the work, hanging ceilings and putting up metal studs and drywall insulation in commercial buildings. We have today business locations in Denver, Omaha, Lincoln, Kansas City, Wichita, Springfield, Missouri. So we have a broad footprint out here in the Midwest, and we're fortunate to be a supplier of an Armstrong brand of ceilings, and Armstrong's the national leader in the production of acoustical ceiling materials and that type of thing. So we've been very privileged through the years to represent a fine group of vendors, Armstrong being one of them.
Now, tell me, who is Ace Wagner?
Wow. Okay, you put me on the spot. I'm an entrepreneur. I love a personality profile called the Enneagram. I think it does the best job in helping us understand ourselves. And on the Enneagram, I'm a 7. And a 7 is somebody who's always got a lot of projects going, a lot of different interests. So on the one hand, that's a disease, right? Because to be successful, you have to be focused. But on the other hand, it's allowed me and led me to a whole variety of interests and the kind of learning that everything from natural health related things to subtle energy to construction materials and what would be the next greatest thing, those are all elements of a 7. So I'm a doer, and I love learning, and I love being engaged with people. So that is one way to describe who I am.
And what is that, the Enneagram?
Enneagram. Mm-hmm. E-N-N-E-A-G-R-A-M. And you've heard of the Myers-Briggs and maybe some other personality profiling tests. The Enneagram dates back 1,500 years, and so it was used by our ancestors to try to help people understand themselves. You know, the age-old question, know thyself. And in knowing thyself, one has a great opportunity, I think, to deliver their gifts into the world, because we're comfortable with themselves when they know what those gifts are and what drives them, what motivates them. So the Enneagram does a fabulous job of explaining that, and after taking a test, and also putting that in relation to other personalities.
Balance.
And helps one balance, because the Enneagram shows you when you're out of balance, because you migrate toward personality types that are less part of you, less integral, And then on the other hand, as you are in your best self, most in alignment, it helps you understand why that alignment leads you to maybe an adjoining personality type. So it's a gradient form of test, and it's a dynamic test, and it can be extremely powerful. It's ancient.
And spell that again?
Enneagram, Enneagram, and you could go to enneagram.com, and Risso Hudson has a site on the web that will allow you for $10 to take a personality profile test, and they'll give you your results with a little description of what that means. But if you really want to dig in deeper, then you buy their book, or a book about the Enneagram, and it's just it's revealing. It's very revealing.
Yeah, I saw one recently that I started getting involved in. I think it's called Latitude or something. I can't remember the name, but it's something similar. Well, it helps you increase your work ethic and your memory skill and that kind of thing. The other day we were on the phone, we were talking, and something that piqued my interest was you were talking about alignment.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about that. Alignment. Being aligned.
Okay, well that fits nicely into the discussion about the Enneagram, in that alignment of purpose has a greater chance of occurring when one knows oneself. And you know, if your father was a brick mason, as was your case,
right,
and you grew up thinking you were going to be a brick mason because that was just the order of the economy, right? That was how you were going to earn a living in the world. But you're a painter, you know, or an artist of some kind. Then things like the Enneagram can help you understand those artistic qualities in a way to help put you in a relation about where your alignment would be best served in the work area that you pick. So knowing oneself leads to ingenuity. If our ingenuity is a function of us using our gifts in the world, then that is a statement of alignment. And with that alignment, I think we have a much better prospect of living in community with whoever, whether it's our church group, our school group, or the family members, because that purpose flows from knowing oneself, and that alignment helps us, frankly, love and live better in community and with others than might otherwise be the case.
And so ingenuity and creativity is the mother lode of who we are.
Yes, sir, I think it is.
And then we are mind, body, heart, soul, and spirit.
Yes, sir.
So that might give us a voice.
Yes, sir.
Because everybody's looking for a voice, right?
Yes, sir. I think that's right.
Let me ask you this. Tell us about how you see the future and how you see it. Politics, business, etc. What's you're a pretty broad thinker. Give me give our folks out there some insight into how you see it.
The future's our choice, and if we elect to define our future from a past, and if that past is full of grievances, we'll probably dictate that future for ourselves going forward. So while there may be a historical future, there's really only an individual's perspective of the future as well as of the past. So to the extent that we can live in the present and appreciate and enjoy who we are, again, back to the sense of alignment, and that our gifts are being contributed and that we are being fulfilled in contributing those gifts, then the future is a function of the present. And if it is, hopefully that's full of hope. So on the political front, I think we've experienced tremendous friction, in our two-party system over the last several years. I think the last candidates did the best they could, and particularly President Obama, in foretelling a promising future and trying to help us think at a higher level about what we can become. Forwardness, but from a collective action and from a common spirit of trying to lift ourselves and go forward. We have, unfortunately, though, a terrible rift in our society and our political system. I read a book last night that a friend of mine wrote, a gentleman named Howard Jacobson, and Howard has had the pleasure of meeting all of the presidents since Harry S. Truman at one point or another. And when he was a young man, he was often in the Senate dining room. And his book tells of him in his youth. He was only 20, 21 years old, working on behalf of Senator Symington, who was running for president at the time. Stuart Symington, running for president. But nonetheless, he had an opportunity to be in the political circles quite often. And in the Senate dining room, he had an opportunity to sit down often with members of Congress who were from both parties. And they were discussing the bills to be deliberated on and how they might move those forward. And this reading just made me sense how much kind of collective effort was being put forth, even though there were two parties, even though there was great division between the likes of Kennedy and Goldwater and all their politicking. But today we seem to have taken that to extreme.
Right.
And so I hope that the future permits a more commonness, more agreement about us in our fundamental, in our essence, and what we're trying to do societally, than all these divisions about where we should and shouldn't spend money and entitlement and this and that. So that's my hope, and my hope is that the future will permit us to recognize how we are common and not so separate. It's awful.
I remember years ago you gave me a document about neighbors. It's from the Pope, one of the Pope's messages about neighbors, like we're all neighbors.
Yes, sir.
And I remember reading that. Of course, we go back a little bit.
We do, and that particular reading that you're talking about was produced by the American Catholic bishops, and it was a treatise on social justice and economic equality among people, and they were trying to assess our capitalist system in view of some religious and moral issues, and put forth a treatise that said, you know, social justice and economic justice really should be the rule of the day. And I know they were trying to point out that things had gotten disjointed with respect to the haves and the have-nots, and that we needed to give more attention to how we together should proceed. My son is looking for college, and one of the colleges had all kinds of ethics, you know, this and that. We do this in ethics. And I finally said to a professor we had an opportunity to interview, what do you mean by that? What is it about the persistent ethics in all of your coursework and here at your business school? And he said, from the very beginning, we try to address any business with the fundamental question, how does it serve society? And unfortunately, so much of business and ownership of business and top CEOs are about how does it serve us? How does it serve our corporation? How does it serve me?
Right.
And I think this broader question is, how does business serve society? Is a very reasonable, broad, ethical question. It's not loaded with this religious point of view or that religious point of view or political angle. It's how does it serve those of us who are here at the present time on this planet and in this country, trying to do the best to bring our children up and give them an opportunity. And I think that's part of what the bishops were trying to get at 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
But it found a new voice, new way for me to try to say those issues about, well, what is it about what's going on here? How does that serve society? And I think that's a fair question.
Well, you know, the community that I live in, African American community, I think that there's a crying in the dark in the wilderness for that voice of mind, body, soul, heart, and spirit. And some of the stuff that you're talking about, it needs to come together collectively so that we communicate. Carlos and I was talking about Warren Buffett, and he said he would pay somebody a lot of money if they were good communicators. And I think a lot of our problems that we have, both economically, political, from the African American community is because of communication. I've had a chance of knowing you, and I've been very fortunate to be able to get into some circles that I normally would not ever have gotten into. And I've seen things and heard things and seen reactions from people. Some was good, some was happy, some was sad, but that's just the way it is. I think when we
say you're blaming me for the trouble you got yourself into? Is that what you're saying to me?
No, but I can remember, being all honest, I haven't always agreed with your mindset, and you probably haven't agreed with mine. But I can remember when we first started on the journey, you said, you know, this is a great idea, but it ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be easy, and because everybody might not see it like that, but it's been okay. You know, the idea about talk to us about this having a specialized knowledge and imagination. You know how important those two are. The knowledge, specialized knowledge, and the imagination. I read this book, Malcolm Gladwell, and it was talking about the 10,000 hours, and which was which was a very intellectual eye-opening for me, because it just made a lot of sense. You know, 10,000 hours, you know, the immigrants from Europe moved to the United States, and then all of a sudden somebody gave them a shot to get a commodity that they already knew, to being a tailor, to being a jeweler. I consider that specialized knowledge. But talk to us about your mindset on this specialized knowledge and imagination, and the ability to have an open playing field so that you can expose your specialized knowledge.
Well, before going too far down the rat hole of specialized knowledge, I think the jumping off point is an open mind.
Okay.
Because it's maybe less so about the specialization as it is that what led you to the specialization, which was an open mind and a desire to learn more. And from that open mind, I think all kinds of possibilities open themselves. You know, you ask an interesting question about how specialization and imagination work together. Sometimes it seems that we become so specialized that we lose our imaginative ability.
That's right.
And modern day neuroscience helps us understand that you know, the brain lights up in 3 different regions. This is from an fMRI reading, when a question is asked.
Right.
So when you're dealing with your counterparts or your family members or what have you, and you're asking an honest and earnest question, they're helping you solve that question, and their brain lights up to help show that that activity is taking place. When you tell somebody what to do, there's no area of that brain that lights up, and they default to the lower brainstem, which is the lower ganglia, and the brain oftentimes is trying to figure out how they're not going to do what you just asked them to do. So imagination is lighting up those 3 areas of the brain, the 3 regions of the brain, to try to get involvement and action from somebody. So how does one be specialized and imaginative? So I don't know the name of the university. I'd be happy to get it for you. But not that long ago, a university did a test to see if at 3 different college locations they could improve the free throw shooting of their various basketball teams. The first team did nothing in its practices in the ensuing year, and they compared their free throw shooting percentage one year to the next. The second team, under this study, asked the people on the team to make a half an hour's worth of extra free throw shots every practice. So there was an intense practice. The third group was asked to visualize, to take that same half an hour and sit down and simply visualize making those baskets.
That's right.
The results of the study were that the first team had no improvement year on year. They didn't do any extra practice, didn't do any visualization, so they were basically neutral. The second team, who practiced an extra half an hour to try to improve free throws, actually improved the free throw percentage by 24% year on year. So a radical improvement. The third group had visualized this and had a 23% improvement in their shooting percentage.
That's right.
So by thinking about what it is they need to do, their body followed and they did what they needed to do. But it flowed from an open mind and an engaged mind that allowed them to succeed at something that was very routine for them, something very normal, but that led to a radical improvement in their performance. So how does specialization and imagination, how do they work together? Clearly through an open mind and through visualizing what the outcomes should be, what you want them to be, and being really, really good at it and following through with that, as Malcolm tells us to do.
That's right.
So.
That's right. Like auto-suggest.
Auto, fill me in.
Well, auto-suggest, it's the same
Auto-suggestion.
Auto-suggestion, yeah. You know, I was just sitting here thinking, I'm 62 now, and we started a long time ago, and God has brought us a mighty, mighty, mighty long ways. Hawaii, Barbados, we've been to some,
Mexico.
Yeah, we uncovered some territory together.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we covered some territory, and good fond memories, because at the end of the day, when we go lay down, you know, it's the memories. It's not so much the physical attachments and what we can touch and feel. It's those memories, you know, and I'm very fond of those memories. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, I'm very blessed. I've got a wonderful wife of over 30 years. We were friends in high school, started to date at the end of the high school period, went to different colleges together, I like to say. And then after 5 years of dating, we've been married. and we were married at a relatively young age in today's standards, 24 years old, 23. But anyway, she's a wonderful woman. She's a math teacher and tutor, and I enjoy being with her every day. And we have 3 terrific children. One is an incredible actor. One's an incredible artist who's out working in the world today and fulfilling her ingenuity and purpose. And then I have a young son who's ready to go off to college here in just a couple of weeks.
And when is Nathan, when does he leave?
He leaves in the middle of September because the college he's chosen is on the trimester system.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't start until the middle of September, won't come home until June sometime.
Mm-hmm. You have any sisters and brothers?
I do. I have a great brother. He's been my business partner for 30 plus years, as I mentioned earlier. And I have a younger sister who works for the Fed in the post office, but is also a horse trainer and jumper and a very talented horsewoman, equestrian rider.
Mm-hmm. Does she ride locally?
She does. She does.
Does she do the national circuit as well?
No, she doesn't travel much national. She'll travel in the region and do some shows. And she was an American Royal horsewoman some years back. Mm-hmm. And she gives lessons now and does some of her own showing and owns some of her own horses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, in parting, give us some Ace Wagner mindset. Give us something to walk away with. Give a listening audience, because this will be heard by several people. By the way, folks, this is whatsupkansascity.net. You can pick us up. And we're looking for more people to come forward to want to be interviewed and maybe tell your story. It could be a business person. We're looking more also at families, you know, mothers and fathers, sons and daughters. You know, we're looking for a gamut so that we can bring that voice of mind, body, heart, and soul and spirit to our community. But give us a parting word there.
Well, just a parting philosophy is that if you do spend a bit of time to know thyself, which is oftentimes through meditation and prayer, then hopefully the ingenuity that is within you will flow, allowing you to live in a way and in community and service to others that you hadn't imagined. Mm-hmm. And it often leads to heroic things. Mm-hmm. People can do great things when they have those simple fundamentals. So live in the present. Be here now.
And enjoy life.
Enjoy it.
Have some peace.
Live and learn and have some peace.
Some peace.
Peace brings it home, brother.
Yeah, peace brings it. Ain't nothing like peace.
That's right.
We don't want to be sleeping on the roof.
No, that's right.
Bring some peace. Well, you know, folks, this has been a very good interview with Ace Wagner. I just found out about a 90-day health challenge that I am promoting. My goal is to get fit, fight obesity, and earn a BMW. You have to hear about this. Go to www.vi.com, and you also can reach me at 816-728-1361 every Tuesday, Thursday. Here in the historic Lincoln Building, I have a challenge party that is open to the public where you can come find out about the product ViSalus, life, health, and prosperity, and we are fighting obesity in our community. You're more than welcome to come and learn and help me fight obesity. Again, www.vi.com, 816-728-1361. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, to look sharp is be sharp. And what's up, Kansas City? And thank you, Ace Wagner.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All right.